Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up, episode 24, my favorite Avenger and his buddy Spidey. And we're going to do, I'm recording this before I record the Defenders episode I hope you just listened to on Thursday. This is going to go up on Saturday. I will be at a 10-year-old's birthday party. Me and my wife are making sure he gets lots of comics and stuff like that. So I wanted to do a quick episode that I could record by myself. I've got big plans. Jim's going to come back and we're going to talk reboot. I've asked Ron to come on for the episode about Marvel feature number 1, the first one with the actual Defenders stories in it. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be an extra long, those daring Defenders. But we're going to record it before I record. I've got 3 more before that one. So we can get through that whole arc that starts in that ends in Marvel Feature 1 and 2. But I wanted to do this, so we're going to do Marvel Team Up number 22, Spider-Man and Hawkeye. So let's get started with some background stuff from the Marvel database. This is Marvel Team Up 22, release date March 26, 1974. I was not even 10 years old. Wow. And this is a cover date of June 1974. The name of the story is The Messiah Machine. That's The Messiah Machine with an exclamation point. The featured characters are Spider-Man and Hawkeye. The villains our antagonists are Quasimodo and the Automatoids. That's Automatoids. Ooh, that's a terrible name. Written by Len Wein, great comic writer. I grew up reading a lot of his stuff. Marvel and DC, became a famous editor. I cannot sing his praises enough. Penciler Sal Buscema, one of the most underrated comic artists of all time. Just saying that. And a Northern Virginia guy like me. He's lived in Springfield or Northern Virginia for a long, long time. I think that's where he lived. Inkers Frank Giocia, Dave Hunt, colorist Glynis Wein, letterer Dave Hunt, editor Roy Thomas. Now let's get the synopsis. So I'm going to wing this synopsis. There was a quick edit there because I was going to read what was on the database, but that's a little long and it's someone else's work, and that's not really cool. I don't mind doing the little ones in the Legion one because it's just a paragraph. But I'm going to kind of do this by thumbing through. I'm using my Hawkeye Epic Edition Volume 1, which is one of these great ones. I got to recommend it. It's got Hawkeye miniseries from 1983, 1 through 4, Avenger 16, which is the first issue as him as a Avenger, 63 through 65, which is him as Goliath, and does some of his origin, 189 and 123, Marvel Team Ups 22, 92, and 95, Captain America 317 plus materials from Tales of Suspense 57, 60, 64, Marvel Tales 100, Marvel Fanfare 3 and 39, and Marvel Super Action number 1. And it's basically a select stories of Hawkeye. It starts with his origin, his joining the Avengers, his transformation into Goliath, and you find out that the swordsman trained in blah, 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 it was an egghead story in Avengers, and then it jumps to post his leaving the Avengers and then being in the Defenders during the Defenders War, and he's still solo, and then it goes on to him coming back to the Avengers years later, another team up and some other stuff. It's really worth it. I mean, it is really worth it. It's a great little book. It gives you a good overview of Clint over the years, but it stops it doesn't really touch on his West Coast Avenger days. So it doesn't go past that really. So it's good. So this one starts with Hawkeye shooting arrows at Spidey to get his attention, and that takes 3 pages, and it's great. It's really great. It's great. Sal Buscema Spidey. Some of the inks are a little, I would have preferred Dave Hunt, a heavy-handed version of Dave Hunt on Sal. I like Sal with certain people. Frank Giocia is okay. It still's got that wonderful Sal Buscema dynamic. which you'll see all over the internet memes of when someone gets punched. You see the puncher in the background and the punchee flying toward you. So Hawkeye gets his attention, say, hey, he's been, following these thieves after he's quit the Avengers and Defenders, and he tries to stop them from stealing, and he realizes they're robots. He gets stunned, but he follows them back to the headquarters. He disguises himself in their coveralls and hat, but doesn't take his mask off. So this robot, which I'm reading this for the first time in a long time, because I've read Marvel TeamUp 22, but probably not for 40 years, or longer. 30 years. Say 30 years. Maybe I've reread it. We had a good run of them, and I read them a lot because it was a Spidey book. I really dug all the team-up books. Marvel Team-Up, Marvel 2-in-1, DC Comics Presents, Brave and Bold. I like these one and the team-ups with those characters. But Hawkeye, he battles him and he escapes, and then he looks for Spider-Man. They go back over there, and Quasimodo, an FF villain who is now, he used to be a computer that looked like a four-legged with, it was weird. It looked like an a rhino body with a face of a man. It's really weird, but the Submariner in an issue of his gave him a humanoid body, made him bipedal. So it's Quasimodo is, I don't even remember I've read this today and I can't remember what Quasimodo is trying to do, but we'll get to that. But he's in charge of this warehouse. Spidey and Hawkeye team up. They get attacked by the automatoids. I guess that's how you think. And some other robots of Quasimodo's. There's a big battle, and they are captured. Well, a trapdoor opens, and they're shot down tubes, and then they're pinned. And there's a beautiful 2-page spread, and I posted this about an hour ago on Twitter, with Quasimodo sitting at his throne, and Hawkeye and Spider-Man in these tubes. And Quasimodo is taunting them as a villain in his hideout will. So let me read you part of this. This is the narration. To find themselves in the vile presence of the world's only functioning living computer, the malevolent mechanism created by the mad thinker and christened Quasi-Motivational Destruct Organ, but better known to the populace at large as Quasimodo. Man, I love those crazy names they came up in Marvel Comics for villains. It's amazing. Quasi-Motivational Destruct Organ. I'm just going to let that hang there. Okay, so humans, this is Quasimodo. So humans, you've decided to avail yourself once again of my hospitality after your little foray earlier this evening. I must admit I am a trifle surprised. It was one of those two human organisms that intruded before. Was it not Good God, I'm pronouncing this terribly. Automatoid N4256. Yes, master, that strange one clad in purple. Strange looking. Who you call? Why, you chrome dome jukebox? Let me out of this blasted test tube and I'll tear your tarnished tonsils out. Way to tell him, Clint. Easy. And then Spidey. Easy, Bowman. We can mangle them after we get a few answers. Near as I can remember, Quasimodo died a few months ago while fighting a creature called the Beast. That is true. In Amazing Adventures with the newly furred up Beast. It was a great comic. But Quasimodo recaps that he fell, but he didn't die. Because he had a rare fit of emotion. He's trying to make himself more. So this is his plan. Computers. Your modern human society revolves around them in a sense. They control your lives. This is really, as I say, talking into my computer to record a podcast with some information on my phone, which is a small, flat computer device. It's very weird. So let's go back to Quasimodo's planned speech. Computers, your modern human society revolves around them. In a sense, they control your lives. But my computer, through a delicate system of complex link-up, the internet, 1974, will control all other computers. Shortly, I will plug myself into the command chair, activate my computer's mechanisms, And then it will be Quasimodo who controls all computers and thus controls the world. But you will not be a witness to that. By then, the pneumatic pressure tubes designed to dispose of electronic waste will have long since disposed of you. And so the tubes shoot, and as they're flying out through the lawn, Spidey breaks his momentum with a web, swings back. Hawkeye uses 2 retro arrows and then a parachute arrow to float safely back to the ground. They come back in through the tubes, bursting their way in, and they fight Quasimodo. And it becomes an all-out free-for-all, and then Hawkeye shoots an arrow, and it ricochets off of 1, 2, 3, 4, past the robot, 5, 6, 8, and finally it hits the main switch and overpowers the circuitry. All the robots are destroyed, and Quasimodo is dead. He has been short-circuited. So that's it. It's Marvel 2 Team Up as its sister book, Marvel 2-in-1, and as the 2 amazing books in it. They're DC Comics Business, and Brave and Bold, were these showcases for characters who didn't have their books. And it was an early team up. It was either Johnny Storm or Spider-Man. Then it became only Spider-Man. Marvel 2-in-1 started in Marvel Feature, and then they created a Marvel 2-in-1. And me and Billy D talked about that first issue of that, which was the first comic series I ever collected completely. My brother bought these religiously. He's a big Spider-Man fan. He's a big Sal Buscema fan, and he instilled that in me. Spidey was never really the character I've read Spider-Man on and off, but he's not always been a character that really spoke to me. Hawkeye, on the other hand, is my favorite Marvel character of all time. He's my in the Avengers. I liked it. Characters like him and the Beast and Wonder Man with Beast. And Black Knight later on. There's a certain type of character I like. I like the non-powered ones. Green Arrow is my favorite Justice Leaguer. In the one because of Hawkeye and Green Lantern. Green Arrow, very similar. But I liked him. He was the working class guy, the underdog, the guy that I just want to do the right thing. I want to be a good man, but he never really knows how to do it. And he's a little selfish in his need to be number one. He thinks that will fix him. I can be like Cap. I can be the leader. That will make me the man that I think I should be. I should lead the West Coast Avengers. And even though he's a great leader in that book, and it's well written, but there's still this thing. He always has a little self-doubt. He falls in love, even with his marriage to Mockingbird. He still has a little self-doubt. He goes back to he becomes leader of the Thunderbolts. He dies. He comes back. He becomes Ronin. And then he's in Avengers on and off, and he's about to be the leader of a new Thunderbolts, where Luke Cage is now mayor of New York after the Devil's Reign, and Hawkeye is going to reclaim the name Thunderbolts. And him and Luke like that idea because they were both leaders of that team. And I like the reformed villain part of him. He's trying to make amends for mistakes. And this is a fun comic. This is after he had been in an Avenger from 16, and then I think it's 313 or it's like 312 he leaves, or 311, and then he comes back. He's basically a defender in the Avengers Defenders War. Great arcs, and then he just kind of disappears, and he comes in, and that's what these Marvel 2-in-1s are for. Not Marvel 2-in, Marvel team-ups. And this is the fun one. I mean, I said it before. I think Sal Buscema is a very underrated artist, but he is, especially for people of my generation, he drew a lot of Spider-Man, he drew a lot of Marvel team-up. He's a great inker. He used to ink Barry Windsor Smith. There is a playful, dynamic style to him, and I absolutely love it. So I think you need to check it out. Check out this Hawkeye volume. Go on the app. All the Marvel team-ups are on the app. There are 107 issues of them. It's really good. My personal favorite team-up of Marvel is Marvel 2-in-1, and I may do another one of those real soon. I have not done a DC Comics Presents or a Brave and the Bold. So I'll put a poll up today. Which one do you want me to do? And I'll pick 2 Brave and the Bold issues that I'm interested in doing, and 2 DC Comics Presents, and let you all pick. And maybe I'll have a guest on. But that's it for this Saturday's episode. While you're listening to this, I hope Saturday afternoon I am going to be hanging around with a bunch of little kids, talking comic books and being silly. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I got a Doctor Who book to read. I've been asked to. I have an announcement coming up, but I'm going to be guesting on another couple shows, and I'm looking forward to some stuff. Please check out. If you're jumping on for this one as your first episode, go back and listen to stuff. Next week we will be doing Adventure Comics 303 with another Legion story where Matter Eater Lad joins. So we'll have a little history of Matter Eater Lad because that's kind of cool. He's kind of hip nowadays. And we'll be doing the first part of 2 issues of Submariner before we go to Defenders on Thursday. And then after that, I'm hoping to have something special. I haven't decided what next Saturday is going to be. So, folks, if you're in the heat wave in the East Coast, stay out of it. It's god-awful here in Richmond. I hope you're being safe. I hope you're being kind. Make sure to love your neighbor, man. Show people that let's all be a little more positive in how we interact with one another. It takes those little battles of one-on-one, of just being kind to somebody. And do me a favor, read some comics.